Hello, my friends way up there. We are going to take a break in our knowledge lessons for a little bit today. And we're going to review what we've learned so far. I have got some friends here to help me review. I have got my friend, the cockroach. I have got my friend, the praying mantis, the cricket, and the grasshopper. What do you think all of these insects have in common? Our cockroach, there's our grasshopper, our cricket, and our praying mantis. What do those four insects all have in common? Obviously, they all have all of the important parts of an insect. Remember, an insect has 6 legs and 3 main body parts: the head, the thorax in the middle, and the abdomen at the end. All insects also have a hard exoskeleton to protect them. These 4 insects, as they grow and develop, go through what we call an incomplete metamorphosis. Remember, there are only 3 stages in an incomplete metamorphosis. Today, we are going to act out those stages. Our first stage is the egg. These insects all lay eggs, several eggs all at once. I want you to take a minute to think what an egg would look like. I think an egg would be a small ball, all rolled up, as small and tiny as can be. After the egg, when it hatches, it becomes a nymph. A nymph is a very small version of the adult insect. So your nymph might look a little different. You're acting out for the nymph. Might be different depending on which insect you choose. I'm going to choose the praying mantis nymph. Remember, praying mantises are called that because of the way they hold their front arms. It looks like they are praying. But because I'm a nymph and not an adult, I'm going to make myself small again. I'm going to be a nymph praying mantis, a very small version. As the insect grows, it goes through the process of molting, or shedding that hard exoskeleton so it has more room to grow and grow and grow and grow until it is an adult insect. Okay, let's try that with a couple other friends of mine now. My next group of friends are the fly, the moth, the butterfly, and the ant. Just like our other friends, because these are all insects, they all have a head, a thorax, and an abdomen, and 6 legs. They all have hard exoskeletons that they shed or molt as they grow. But what kind of metamorphosis do these 4 friends go through? Do they go through an incomplete metamorphosis? Nope. These friends all go through a complete metamorphosis. They've got one more step. A complete metamorphosis has 4 total steps. Does it start the same way? It does. Practice your egg again. What do you think an egg would look like? When eggs for these insects hatch, do they look like miniature versions of their parents? No. Larvae for insects that go through complete metamorphosis usually look a little bit like worms, or like a caterpillar in the butterfly's case. This caterpillar is long and skinny, and he wiggles on the ground using those strong 6 forelegs and his fake legs that he has throughout the rest of his body. What do you think a larva would look like? How could we act that out? I think if we're going to act out a larva, we're going to have to lay down on the floor like a larva would. And you might try and use your legs to crawl or wiggle a little bit, just like a larva would. After the larva stage, does it suddenly become a butterfly or a moth or a fly or an ant? No, it goes into a resting stage. During that resting stage, is it actually resting? No, it is undergoing a huge change, but it doesn't look like anything is happening from the outside. We call that stage the pupa stage, where it is usually attached to a branch. I'm going to hold on to my whiteboard, and I'm going to hold very, very still. Weeks later, when it finally emerges from that chrysalis or pupa stage, what is it? That all depends on what animal you picked, right? If you're a butterfly, you might flap your imaginary giant wings. Or if you're an ant, you might crawl on the floor on your hands and knees, just like an ant would. You get to decide which insect you're acting out. Okay, friends. Now that we know all of the motions for all of the stages in an insect's life cycle, I'm going to explain some of those stages. As I'm explaining the stage, I want you to act it out. Let's start with an easy one. I am the first stage of development in all insects. I am laid by an adult and remain rather helpless, unable to move until I change forms. What are you going to act out? You are going to pretend to be an egg. Let's try another one. I am the second stage of development, following the egg, and I resemble or look like my parent. This one's a little trickier. I am the stage after the egg, and I resemble or look like my parent. My friends, you should be acting out the nymph stage. Remember, nymphs is a stage in the cycle of an insect that goes through an incomplete metamorphosis, where they look like a small version of their parent. Let's try again. I am the second stage of development, following the egg, and I do not look like my parent. I am worm-like in appearance. We know the second stage. We just talked about how the second stage in an incomplete metamorphosis is the nymph. So if we're talking about a different second stage, we must be talking about a complete metamorphosis. How should we act out that stage? How did we act it out? Like a worm-like creature, a larva. All right. I am the third and final stage of development, following the nymph stage. This follows the nymph stage. So could this be a stage in the life cycle of an insect that goes through complete metamorphosis? No, there is no nymph stage in the life cycle of insects that go through complete metamorphosis. But there is an incomplete. After the nymph stage, what happens to the insect? It becomes an adult. Show me your adult insect. It might be a cricket, or a grasshopper, or a praying mantis, like I did. All right, friends, two more. I am the third, seemingly quiet stage of development, following the larval stage. This one's hard to act out, but you should be holding as still as you possibly can, and imagining that you're stuck to a branch somewhere, waiting for all those big changes that you're going through to finish. After that stage, after the pupal stage, when those big changes are finished happening and you finally emerge, what are you? Are you a butterfly? Or a moth? Or a fly? Or an ant? Alright, my friends, thank you for acting those out with me. Go ahead right now and open up the PDF that is attached to this assignment, and I'm going to get on my computer too, so I can show you what we're going to do next. All right, my friends, on that PDF, you should have a picture of an ant that looks like this. This is a short assessment where we're going to talk about the parts of an insect. We've talked about important parts that all insects have. This picture of an ant has a couple of lines or labels, things that need to be labeled. So this line is pointing to this part of the insect. This one is pointing to this part of the insect, and so forth. Your job is to look at these words in the box and put them in the correct places. Our words are abdomen, antenna, head, leg, and thorax. So if we start with the word abdomen, you'll look at where each of these lines are pointing and decide which one is pointing to the abdomen. When you find the line that is pointing to the abdomen, you will write, using a text box, abdomen on the line. You will do the same with the words antenna, head, leg, and thorax. That is all you have to do for this quiz today, but because it is a quiz, make sure you are doing it on your own without help from anyone there that's with you today. When you are done, go ahead and turn this one in, and you are all finished for today.